The NFL playoff action continues. We're one step closer to Super Bowl 57, and for the NFL divisional round, check out DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all new and existing customers can take a shot at an even bigger payout with DraftKings Step-Up Same-Game Parlays. Boost your NFL winnings with each leg you add up to 100%. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code SOTS. New customers can bet just $5 on the NFL divisional round and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the promo code SOTS. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. And if you or someone you know is dealing with a gambling crisis counseling is available by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. You have to be 21 years or older to play and a resident in Louisiana. $200 in free bets, valid one per new customer. Minimum $5 deposit, minimum $5 bets, promo code required. $200 issued as free bets that expires 7 days after being awarded. Free bets must be wagered one time, and stakes is not included in any returns or winnings. Step Up Same Game Parlays. One Step Up Same Game Parlay token issued per eligible NFL playoff game. After opt-in, minimum $1 bet, max bets limited apply. Minimum 3 legs, each leg minimum minus 300 odds, total bets plus 100 odds or longer. Profits boosted up to 100%. Promotion offer period ends 2/12/23 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to know more, all you have to do is go to sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Come on in, everybody. We got some people filing in. Shouts out to everyone in the chat. Ask that before we get started, that you hit the like button. If you enjoy the State of the Saints podcast, the content, I ask that you hit the like button. We are very, very, very close to hitting 10,000 subscribers. So if you have not subscribed, but you check out the State of the Saints podcast consistently, I just ask that you hit the like button. And also, State of the Saints podcast is brought to you today by BetterHelp.com. Anybody that knows me, you know that, I am a real true advocate of mental health. I'm pretty transparent when it comes to my mental health and the battles that I endured. I'm so proud to collaborate with BetterHelp. They are an online virtual therapy company. Those that can't get to offices, those that can't get to somebody to be able to see them every week, you can do this virtually. So there's a link down in the description. With this link, it gives you 10% off of your first visit. Also, certain insurances, you can, they work with as well. And there's a questionnaire. There's nothing wrong with talking to someone, working out your problems, and trying to get everything together mentally. So BetterHelp.com is collaborating with the State of the Saints podcast. If you want to find out more, go ahead and hit that link and get started. But speaking of mental health, if you've been following the New Orleans Saints for the last couple of days, you know for a fact that it definitely does affect your mental health. I'm pretty sure that all of you probably already heard by now what has happened. I didn't do a show on yesterday, kind of tied up with some other stuff. I apologize for that, but we're here today to talk about Pete Carmichael. The story came out courtesy of Mike Triplett of New Orleans Football, and it says the Saints are not planning to replace offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael Jr. or any other assistants beyond Dan Rauscher at this point, per sources. Although the team knows it needs to be better on offense, they believe in Carmichael and his track record, adding to offensive staff still possible. So even though we all seen that they are going to retain Pete Carmichael, adding to the offensive staff is not out of the question. I just want to go ahead and get started. I'm not going to waste anybody's time. First off, I'm disappointed with a lot of people. Look, I can care less how anybody feels. I'm calling a spade on this episode. So it might be one of them situations where, it might affect possible interviews down the line, but I'm about to call a spade. Number one, this was the biggest middle finger I ever seen in my life towards an organization, towards a fan base. I'm going to say that again. This is the biggest middle finger to a fan base I have ever seen coming from a franchise. The New Orleans Saints, we seen this all season long. We seen a team that was incapable of getting out of their own way. We seen a team that was offensively inept, at times defensively inept. When it came to certain decision-making, they were inept. This is a team that averaged about 19 points a game. This was a team that decided to parade out a mediocre quarterback, a guy that you weren't going to win with. They knew they weren't going to win with him. It was just a guy that was just out there, right? So you put Andy Dalton out there. You got the offense looking like slow. You got Alvin Kamara looking like he's not one of the best running backs in the league. You got these wide receivers running the same routes. You got the offensive line going in the wrong direction. And once again, the last time we seen this team offensively, they only scored 7 points. And that was on the opening drive of the first quarter against the Carolina Panthers. And yet they fire a guy who has absolutely nothing to do with that. That's a whole nother story. They fire a guy that had absolutely nothing to do with the problems, if you want to be honest with you. It's mostly with the offensive coordinator. This was a big middle finger, Who Dat Nation, because it just showed us that they don't give a damn about what we think. They don't give a damn about what we think. They don't care. They feel like we're going to just spend our hard-earned money, come out to the Superdome regardless. No matter what product they put on the field, no matter who they put on the sidelines, you are going to go out there and spend your hard-earned money to watch this team. And this is also what happens, and I've been pounding this drum. This is what happens when a person is not afraid of losing their job. This is what happens when everybody's just so comfortable. One thing about me, Who Dat Nation, what I love to do in my spare time, I like to watch documentaries. I like watching documentaries about virtually anything. But one thing that I love watching is like mob documentaries, right? And, how they build up their families and stuff, right? So if you follow the mob, right, you know that there is a term called a made man, right? A made man is an individual that has complete pull, right, in a mob, right? You become a made man two ways, right? if you were, you're a part of a contract killing or you were a contract killer, like, so you become a member of the mob, all right, as a made man. And when you're a made man, you can't be touched, right? If they won't whack you, another family won't whack you, they got to get consent from the higher ups, right? Mickey Loomis looks at himself as a made man. That's what it is. This is a guy who brought in Sean Payton in 2006. And because he hired the coach that has won more games than we have ever seen, who has made this team more relevant than they have ever been. This is a guy that feels like he can't be touched. So what happens when you feel like you can't be touched? You don't care what anybody else thinks. If 2006 with Sean Payton and Drew Brees never happened, there's no way in hell Pete Carmichael would still be on this coaching staff. There would be no way that Dennis Allen would have become the head coach of the New Orleans Saints in the first place. These are a bunch of individuals that are comfortable and know their position and know for a fact that they won't be fired no matter what happens. They feel like they're made. They were a part of the Saints winning their first Super Bowl championship. They were a part of all those successful teams. So they feel like anything that they do, they shouldn't have to, answer to anybody. And this is one of those situations. So to me, this is one of the biggest middle fingers to a fan base I have ever seen. And this is one of the main reasons as to why I can't roll with these boys. I just can't. I cannot roll and support somebody that basically is just so full of themselves, ego so big that they don't even see what the heck is going on. I don't know if they're not in touch what's going on in the outside world. Look, I completely understand if you're not, because that can be hazardous to your health, looking at what people say about you. But for the most part, you should have somebody in there that has a pulse on what's really going on. And I honestly feel like they really don't know, or better yet, they don't care how we feel. Pete Carmichael is a cover-up man. Now, I mean, basically, he's been riding the coattails of Sean Payton his entire career. I don't feel bad about saying that, because how is it that you can be a part of some of the most historical offensive teams in NFL history and nobody calls your phone for the most part? Nobody really legitimately offers you a head coaching position. Like, this is one of those situations where I'm not saying that Pete Carmichael can't call offense, but there was a lot of window dressing when it came to the offensive innovations. Sean Payton was the mastermind behind that. You just so happen to be in the room. It's almost like, if you invent some type of, product or something like that, and somebody else was just in the room when it happened. That's kind of how I feel about Pete Carmichael. He's not a leader, just like his head coach. He's not a guy that I look at and be like, man, I want to run through a wall through. He just looks like a guy that's been here for a long time, and he's part of that buddy system. And this is the reason why we're in the situation that we're in right now. This dude has no business being the offensive coordinator of the New Orleans Saints going forward. Like, honestly, if we're talking about moving on as far as with the quarterback position, what confidence do you have in Pete Carmichael to develop a quarterback, to be able to put together a system for a quarterback? I ain't seen it. All I've seen is a bunch of conservative play. And like I said, a guy who coaches and calls plays, I'm sorry, with no balls. No confidence, no swag, no nothing, just throwing it out there. And I honestly feel, I'm being dead serious. I feel like when the Saints have an opportunity to go for it on 4th and 1, and Dennis Allen just says, punt team. I really feel like Pete Carmichael in the back of his mind saying, whoo, he's not trying to fight like, man, come on, man, we can get this 1 yard. I really feel like, I get nothing from this coaching staff. Nothing at all. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the conspiracy theories here, okay? If you're a conspiracy theorist, is this a team that's conceding? Is this a team that feels like the coaching staff that they have intact are formidable, but not going to win anything, and maybe it'll boost their chances to get in a quarterback for the future? I mean, because I definitely don't feel like Dennis Allen is going to go out here and draft himself a rookie quarterback, not with Pete Carmichael, not when your job is on the line, not if you don't make it to the playoffs or have a successful season, you're not going to come back. So he's probably going to go out here and try to get himself a free agent or something like that, a guy that's a part of free agency to be his starting quarterback. So I don't know. Are they feeling like this coaching staff, what they showed last year could be replicated or even worse? And maybe that'll put the Saints in a better position to get a quarterback. I hope not. But if it was, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Like, if you can tell me that these guys are going to stink it up to a point, and we know for a fact that, they I won't say they don't have respect in the locker room, but their voices don't register at like a Sean Payton or some of these other great coaches out here, the way their voice will register in the locker room. So we know that these guys don't fear them. They know that they ain't gonna lose their job. They know that if they fumble, they're gonna be right back out there the next play. So who's to say that, they feel like maybe putting this coaching staff together one more time give us the result that we want. And if that's the case, then I'm all for it, because I kind of can see the writing on the wall. And, you got to be completely delusional. I seen something out here that said that the New Orleans Saints probably are looking at the reason why they weren't successful is because of the injuries and, a little bit of bad luck that they had last season. And that's one of the main reasons I feel like these guys are delusional and nobody pays attention to what's going on in the outside world. Because if they honestly believe that if they had a few players that were playing, right, if they honestly believe that they had some extra players out there on the field, they would have been in the playoffs or they would have won double-digit games, you're sadly mistaken. There were times, just like when Andy Dalton was going up against elite competition with a quarterback, there were times when Dennis Allen went up against above average or borderline elite coaches, he got schooled. So, I mean, you can pretend and act as if, if Michael Thomas was playing, if Jarvis Landry played a little more, if Andrews Pete was here, then we would have went to the playoffs and been making a run at it. You can believe that all you want to, but I think we all know the truth that that's just a bunch of nonsense. And they ought to be ashamed of themselves. And speaking of which, I got a problem with a lot of these booty kissing individuals out here who don't want to keep it 100, who don't want to keep it 100, who knows that it's a bad idea, who knows that this situation is not going to turn out good based on what we seen last season, and yet they try to justify the decisions of this organization. I have absolutely no respect for anybody like that. There's one thing that I'm never going to do. I don't care. I don't care if it stalls my growth as a broadcaster, it stalls my growth as a person going forward. I will never kiss anybody's ass or act as if a decision is the best decision in the world just because I feel like I can get some behind the scenes stuff, just because I feel like I can talk to you or text you on the phone, or I feel like I can just, roll up on you and stuff like that and get an interview with you at any time. I ain't doing that, right? If that means that I got to act delusional and act as if things aren't the way that they are, or act as if, this guy isn't the right guy. If I got to do those type of things, or better yet, if a person stinks it up and, I call them out for it, and then all of a sudden I'm afraid that they won't talk to me anymore or give me exclusive anymore, like, I'm okay with that because I'm not selling my soul to anybody. Some of these takes, some of these tweets, a lot of booty kissing out here. A lot of booty kissing. And if that's the way you roll, that's the way you roll. Like that, if that's how your bread's buttered, that's how your bread's buttered. But anybody that's out here trying to justify Pete Carmichael coming back, anybody's trying to justify Pete Carmichael based on some years that he was with, a lot of people consider one of the best offensive minds as a coach in Sean Payton, you want to justify that, then I just have to say you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. And I don't care. Like, I honestly don't care if that affects anybody. Like, I'm not talking to anybody that doesn't apply to. Like, if you sitting up here toting the drum for ineptitude, if you're toting the drum for stupidity, I ain't got no respect for that. And I don't feel like you should be doing anything that involves, reporting or podcasting or whatever, because you're doing a disservice to the people. You're basically just lulling them to sleep. You're basically being damage control, right? I got to be damage control because I'm afraid that they ain't going to want to talk to me no more. Like it is just absolutely sad watching people toe the drum for Pete Carmichael, a guy who was over an offense that averaged 19 points per game, a guy who thought that Andy Dalton would be a better decision. Andy Dalton is a loser. Like, I'm not saying that he's a bad quarterback, but he is a loser, right? When it all comes down to it, dude is a loser. I'm not talking about in life. Dude got a nice family, but I'm talking about when it comes on the field, when it comes to a guy that needs to make a play in crucial situations that can facilitate a comeback. This dude always craps out. I don't care what it is. Third down, you need a first down, a minute left. You got to convert. He comes with a sack. He comes with a fumble. He comes with an interception. The dude is a loser. These dudes, Pete Carmichael, Dennis Allen, represent a losing mentality. Just on that alone, I can't roll with them dudes. Just because of that alone, I cannot roll with them. These dudes exude losing. That's what they are. They brought a losing culture, a losing personality. The morale of the Who Dat Nation hasn't been this low probably since like 2005 on back, and it's all because of these guys. And there's no end in sight because you got guys that are higher up that feel like they are made men. They feel like they feel like any decision that they make, Gail Benson is not going to fire them. Dennis Lauscher is not going to hold their foot to the fire. There is no way in the world, if this team wasn't as bad as they have been historically, and over the last 15 years, Mickey Loomis was responsible or, a part of the success. Like, there's no way in the world that Pete Carmichael or Dennis Allen will be here today. This is like somebody saying, look, I got the control. I call the shots. You could not look at these guys. Like, seriously, all of the guys on the street, all of the coaches that they have, all the coordinators, you're not going to tell me this isn't the best that you have to offer. And based on these decisions, well, I think we can pretty much figure out that more than likely, they're going to bring back boring-ass Andy Dalton. They probably going to bring in some other boring-ass backup quarterback, and we're going to continue as a fan base to have to subject ourselves to a boring-ass team. Like, it's one thing if you were losing and it was exciting. Like, you look at some of the games that the Saints have played, right? The offense was cooking. The game was exciting. It came down to like a field goal. Yeah, you had to have your blood pressure medication close, but at least you knew for a fact that you had a chance. Not only are the Saints getting beat to sleep, but they're not even generating points, and they're boring the hell out of the fan base. It's boring. It's bland. And you want to believe that your team has a chance of winning. It's boring, it's bland, and everybody believes that the team sucks. It'd be one thing if it was exciting, and if everybody felt like the team had a chance, but they couldn't get over the hump. At least you would probably have some asses in seats. But you're not even going to get that because this is a boring-ass team. And it is what it is. And like I said, I'm tired of the Buddha kissing, man. I'm tired of Buddha kissing. I'm tired of people sitting up here trying to, toe the drum for people that don't deserve to be in the positions that they're in. I don't care. Like, I don't care if you're watching this and you getting mad. I don't care. Like, seriously, God has given me the ability to be able to get behind this microphone and put on a show daily. I don't have to kiss nobody behind for them to be on a show. I don't have to kiss nobody behind about, talking to them or whatever. Like, if I gotta fake it to make it, then that ain't me. That ain't me, man. I can't roll like that. A lot of these people out here, like I say, I understand how your bread is buttered, but don't try to convince me that this team is making the right decisions when clearly, based on what we've seen, they are not. They are not making the right decision. This is an embarrassment, and this is a middle finger to the fan base. It is a middle finger to the fan base, man. They know, like, you got a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? This team was in the playoffs, and they still fired their offensive coordinator. This team won a Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and they still fired their offensive coordinator. You got teams out here that have been successful, and they still firing their coaches. And yet P. Carmichael, just because he stood there and handed off juicy fruit to Sean Payton for the last 15 years, and maybe like 1 year where he was actually coaching exclusively. But honestly, when you think about it, how impressive was that? How impressive was that when you think about it? Now, I will say this. I sound like the biggest hypocrite on the face of God's green earth, because when I was trying to justify around this time last season, we're trying to justify Pete Carmichael, I brought up all them 400-yard games. But what we didn't do is we didn't talk about the guy who was facilitating those 400-yard games, and that is Drew Brees. And just like there was a lot of cover-up, in my opinion, when you think about it, for a guy like Pete Carmichael. You're alongside a guy who is one of the most brilliant minds offensively in Sean Payton, and you're also the guy that's pulling the trigger is arguably one of the best quarterbacks of the modern era. So how good are you really? How good are you really? I think, look, based on what I've seen with an average quarterback, Andy Dalton, have y'all seen growth out of Andy Dalton? Have y'all seen something better out of Andy Dalton? No, not to me. Andy Dalton has always been kind of the way that he is playing for the Saints. Even when he was with Cincinnati, he was decent. Sometimes he'll look good, but he was never elite. To me, I feel like this coaching job between Pete Carmichael and Andy Dalton is the real Pete Carmichael. There was a lot of cologne on the musty body that was Pete Carmichael's play calling. When you think about, like, how impressive is it really? Seriously, how impressive is it really? Like, when you think about it, you know, it's like the dude is basically like Bill Cartwright. This dude is like Bill Cartwright on the early 90s Bulls team, right? Yeah, he won a championship, but you know what I'm saying? You had Jordan and Pippen and Horace Grant, right? Like, but you had, like, how impressive was Bill Cartwright? Like, this dude is basically, to me, the Bill Cartwright of the New Orleans Saints. Like, he basically elevated his portfolio by being surrounded by a bunch of guys that were great, that were elite. Think about it. Like, you have one arguably the best quarterback of the modern era in Drew Brees. So even if you call a certain play, if Drew Brees sees that it's not there, he gonna adjust an audible, and he's going to put the offense in a position to succeed. So that's a cheat sheet on the field. And then on top of that, we know for a fact that Sean Payton probably 95% of the time called the plays. Yeah, there were times where, you know, Sean Payton, you know, messed his knee up, and, you know, Pete Carmichael had to call the plays, but Sean Payton was in the press box. Like, so if he ain't like a play, he can easily, like, just chime down. How impressive is this dude really? I see people toting the drum, you know, with Pete Carmichael, but how impressive is he really? Right? How, like, you want to impress me? Do what Kyle Shanahan is doing with Brock Purdy. You want to impress me? Do what Kyle Shanahan did with Matt Ryan when he won MVP, and all those other guys. Like, seriously, that's a true coordinator. That's a true quarterback whisperer right there. Look, anybody can look like the greatest thing ever when he's surrounded by greatness, right? You know, anybody can just sit up there and talk about how great they are if they surround themselves with great people. And I just feel like Pete Carmichael is a poser. Like, I'm sorry. Dude is a poser. Like, if he was as good as he says that he is, and everybody trying to make him out to be, and how respected he is, then I feel like Andy Dalton should have been a lot better than what he was. Like, I mean, seriously, right? Am I wrong? If he is as great as they saying that he is, if he's this offensive guru, just like just like Sean Payton was, and he's in the same room, he deserves to be in the same room. Shouldn't Andy Dalton like really be like up there and people talking about him like they talking about Brock Purdy? I mean, I'm just saying, like, so how great are you? You take away Sean Payton, you take away Drew Brees, you just there. So it's a joke. It's a joke at this point. An absolute joke. And like I said, I don't care who likes it. I don't care. Like, stop beating the drum for these clowns. Like, just because you think this gonna mess up your, mess up your spot. I don't know. Why to fire the guy or was O-line coach and Sean Payton moved him to running back coach. Then DA hired a passive offensive line coach and Doug Marrone, passive Pete, passive Doug, passive Dennis. Look, that's because, weak minds think alike. Yeah, I ain't say great minds. I said weak minds, right? And what you have is a bunch of guys that are weak. There's a reason why Doug Marrone didn't pan out in Jacksonville. Yeah, they went to an AFC championship game, but you couldn't control guys with egos like Jalen Ramsey. You couldn't control guys with egos like Leonard Fournette. You couldn't get them on board of supporting Blake Bortles. You couldn't help Blake Bortles get better, like, because you were all passive, and you had I can't think of the guy's name at this particular time, but at the same time you had the general manager or the president of the team. You had him basically fighting your battles for you. Like, when you was the one that was supposed to be out here trying to put Jalen Ramsey in check and trying to get these guys, together and being on the same page. Tom Coughlin is what I'm thinking about. Tom Coughlin. But anyway, Tom Coughlin was the one that was out here having the problems with these guys when you were supposed to be the one that's fixing it. Weak mentality. Dennis Allen been conservative all season long, throwing scared, putting the team in a fetal position all the time, getting the lead, trying to hold on to it, right? Trying to hold on to what you have in your hand with everything that you have when the opposition trying to open it. Like, this team is this team and what these guys have turned this organization into is an absolute joke. Like, there's no swag, there's no confidence in this team whatsoever. Like, seriously. And I don't see how this can continue. Like, this has to, like, to me, like, how can you argue with a fan for us not to feel like this is some old tank and sabotage type stuff? How can you look at what this team has been, for the exception of like maybe a couple defensive performances down the stretch? Do you honestly believe that this team got it together? How did you look at the film of this season and was like, well, you know what? I think we just need to run it back with everybody here. Like, you got to be out your freaking mind. This was the biggest middle finger to a fan base I have ever seen in my entire life. They flipped the bird to you twice with both hands. That's what they did. Seriously. Like, there's no way in the world, like, to retain everybody, like, you got to be out of your freaking mind. I totally agree. He should have been a head coach somewhere. I mean, why is it that he has never been a head coach? They said he's had interviews, but man, I wouldn't hire him either. Like, based on what I see, based on like his personality, these guys will run all over this dude. Elite A, you're right though. I'm feeling some kind of other stuff going on. I don't know what's going on. The only thing I can think about it is they trying to be in a Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Because, how can you look at this coaching staff and be like, man, this is a double-digit win coaching staff we got here. Man, you crazy. For you not to be able to, for you to bring back everybody for the exception of the running back coach? Okay. All right. But let some of these fans tell if PFF has him ranked top 10 and he had a top 10 QBR, though, TJ. Man, I don't give a doggone about none of that stuff. Andy Dalton is a loser. I don't care what anybody says. You can come on here and try to defend Andy Dalton all you want to with that, with the nickel and diamond and all that kind of stuff there and be like, man, he completed 67. Andy Dalton is a loser. You ain't winning nothing with that. The only people that's excited about Andy Dalton is them old, washed up, throwback football fans and Bobby Abel. That's it. Like, that's the only people that's out here toting the drum of a guy like this. Like Andy Dalton is a loser. Straight up. Crucial situations, he taking a sack. Crucial situations, he gonna get a ball away. Crucial situations, he gonna overthrow a guy. He gonna miss a wide open pass. He's gonna check it down, even though a guy's wide open because he don't believe in his own arm talent. Dude is a loser. You're not winning nothing with that. Yeah, this dude can stay on the field and he can get a ball and facilitate it. But when it all comes down to it, when you need a play, he is not going to be able to deliver. There's not a person in this world that can convince me that you can't do better than Andy Dalton. I'd rather have a guy that goes out there, that plays with passion, and may not be as good when it comes to the arm talent and may not be as good at some of the decision-making, but he goes out there and he performs to a high level and he takes risks because he knows it's going to put him in the best position to succeed. Andy Dalton is a coward. When you think about it, the dude really didn't play to win the games, in my honest opinion. He just played so he had this, hey, my mom on TV approach. That's how he played. He didn't play like, oh, I want to, you know what I'm saying? I want to lay it all on the line here. He played so he can be the quarterback the following week because everybody was talking about Jameis Winston. Well, if I complete 60% of my passes and, you know, I put our team in a position, then I can be the quarterback the next week. Man, didn't care nothing about no winning. I don't get warrior mentality from this dude. I just get a guy that just happy to be out there and just want to keep his job. Right? You ever seen a guy at work, you know, things may not be going right. You know, you get together, you're all in the break room like, man, something is really going on here, man. I think we need to speak up about it. And then you got the guy in the back. I don't know, man. You know, I mean, is it really something that I have to deal with? Is it really something is it a hill for us to die on? That's Andy Dalton. That's Andy Dalton right there. Ain't trying to rock the boat. Ain't trying to stir the pot. Ain't like he just going to be out there. Anybody that's out here defending this dude, like, give me a freaking break. The dude is a loser. Straight up 100% loser. And once again, for anybody that just tuned in, I want to make sure that I make this absolutely clear because somebody will say, man, you call Andy Dalton a loser. I'm not saying in life. I'm not saying in life. Like I said, he has a beautiful family. You know, like in life, he's a winner. But on the field, he's a loser. A 100% grade A loser. One thing you can say, like, look, you know why people love like Jameis Winston so much and why people were choosing Jameis Winston over Andy Dalton? I'm about to tell y'all why. For all those people out there that want to, you know, look at this from an X's and O's perspective. It's not about X's and O's. You got one guy that is willing to die. I'm die for, you know what I'm saying, for it. Like he loves the game like that, right? He loves the game. He's passionate about the game. He wants to be out there. He just loves to be around football. And then you have another guy who just, okay, whatever, you know, I'm here. Hello, you know, like, hey, everybody. You know, like that's what it is. That's why people like, man, put Jameis in. Because, you know, at least, you know, like if you down, Jameis ain't about to just sit up there and just, man, let me just check it down. We down by 15 points, but let me go ahead and check it down so we can get this 2-yard gain. No. That's not what it is. That's why people wanted him out there. Because we know for a fact that this dude about to lay it all on the line. When they were down in that Carolina Panthers game, you know, Jameis Winston went out there trying to check it down. This man was trying to sling that thing downfield. Why do you think that Chris Olave had most of his receiving yards, more receiving yards in one game than he ever had the entire season for the rest of the season? For the rest of the season. So that's the way I look at it. Anybody out here that's out here trying to defend Andy Dalton, well, I wouldn't want to roll with you because you probably a loser too. Seriously, like anybody that's sitting up here that's just trying, like being content. And I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying loser in life. I'm talking about loser mentality. I want to make that very, very clear. Anybody out here that's like you just okay with being mediocre. Me, I'm not okay with that. Anybody that wants to surround themselves with mediocrity, I ain't trying to be around them. See, I'm trying to be great. I aspire to be great. Like some of you like, okay, man, we just going to put this right here. You know, I'm not going to stir the line. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to toe the line. Come on, man. Like, give me a break. Like weak mentality right there. I don't want that. Now, it ain't even about being good at this point, because if you want to be honest, like, both of these guys, left a lot to be desired. I'm talking Jameis and I'm talking Andy. But I'd rather have a guy that's going to go out there and lay it all on the line versus a guy that's just going to sit out there when a team needs a 10-yard play and he checking it down for 2 yards. Like, that's loser mentality. Anybody that's sitting up here trying to justify that, like I said, is a loser. You have a loser mind frame. Because there's nowhere in the world you can look at that and say that's adequate quarterback play. Honestly, look at all these other quarterbacks out here. Guys that you ain't never even heard of. Look at Skylar Thompson, the quarterback that played for the Dolphins. Like, even this man played with more passion and more heart than Andy Dalton. And this man, third-string quarterback, probably thought he was going to be holding a clipboard for this season, probably next season, and going forward. But this man go out there and he ball out and play with more aggression and more fire and more passion than a guy who's been in the league, about 12 years? But this is the guy that y'all sit up there and defend and talking about Pro Football Focus. That's a bunch of empty calorie stats that mean absolutely nothing. And because you can put these stats out here, just give Dennis Allen old mediocre tail justification of bringing this dude back out here again and want us to be okay with that. Well, I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with mediocrity. And I never will. I will never subject myself to mediocrity. I ain't trying to do that. Are you trying to be good or are you trying to be great? I'm trying to be great. I ain't trying to be good. I ain't trying to be average. I ain't trying to be mediocre. I'm not just trying to do a good enough job so people can shut up. If you're doing that, then maybe you need to check yourself. They railroad Jameis. It looks racist. Lost his job to an injury. They never wanted him in the first place. I thought I was the only one who saw that. Who is a joke? I don't know. I mean, who's talking about a joke? No, I don't know. Let's see. I live in Dallas. I wear Saints apparel while on the street. Tons of Cowboy fans either give me a hug or tell me, we know how you feel. Dalton is not that guy and to take you over the hump. Now, he's not taking you anywhere. And look, if the Saints bring this dude back, it tells us everything that we need to know. I hate they burned that bridge with Jameis. Yeah, it's over with them. Gotta blame Mickey. Yeah, look, if they go into this season, they not successful, and they don't get the job done, then Mickey Loomis' foot need to be to the fire. I don't care how much built up capital he got. I don't care how much Gail Benson likes him. Like, this dude foot needs to be held to the fire. Like, you can't just sit up here and just like, oh, we won all these many games and I'm made. Ain't nobody gonna fire me. Like, I feel like when you start having a mentality like that, it's time for you to go. Because you should always be trying to aspire to be better and trying to look at ways to become better. If you're not doing that, then you need to find yourself something else to do or find another organization. There's no other organization in the league that would have did some stuff like this. Seriously. This was when people aren't afraid. They aren't afraid that their position is in question. They feel like they got everything together. They feel like they're a made man or a made woman. TJ, to your point, AD and DA basically have the same mentality. It's like they're related to each other, giving DA's his justification. Look, I don't know if clearly they're not related. It's just, he wants a guy. He wants a guy that's conservative, just like him. Excuse me. He wants a guy that's conservative, just like him. If they bring Dalton back, we are tanking. They might bring Winston back too. Both of them are backups. Well, look. You can say whatever you want about Jameis Winston, but I don't see him coming back if he's going to be a backup. Let's see. No way they saw the slant pass to Callaway in the Bucs game and the clutch and said to this is our guy. This is shameful. Look, I don't know if anybody saw that, but I'm glad you alluded to that. But there was a play that was just on third down. And honestly, if you checked out football, like, that wasn't even the play. He wasn't even supposed to throw that pass to Callaway, right? He checked it down. he checked it down to Callaway because it was more of a short thing in his opinion. See, that's the mind frame I'm talking about here. That wasn't even his intended receiver. He checked it down to him. And the crazy thing about it is, you ever seen like the mic'd up episode that Carlton Davis, and Carlton Davis breaks up the play and looks at Marquez Callaway and says, man, you always run that play. Every time you come into the game, I know this play coming. That's what he told him. So not only are you boring, but you're predictable and boring. So I'm like, come on, man. Like, everybody know what you about to run. Everybody know what you about to do. Everybody know. Like, come on, man. And that's great play calling. Okay, I guess. I will not go to a Saints game if Dennis Allen and Dalton is still there. Sorry. And then another thing. How is it that this dude is such a great coordinator? This man wait till the last minute to put Taysom Hill in. This man waiting till the last minute. Basically, everybody had to say, man, look how good this guy Shaheed is. Maybe since every time he touches the ball is a big play, maybe you should put him out here on the field. I mean, I don't know. You run one jet sweep and then you don't see him again, right? Like, I can understand, like, 1 week, you probably just like, okay, man, this dude has speed. This is first time playing. We're going to hit him with the jet sweep. But the next week, like, okay, I guess it was on a short week. Okay, so he was unleashed against the Bengals game, right? I'm talking Shaheed. And then they played the Arizona Cardinals. So in a 2-week span, right, or 2 game span, because there was a short week, this man scored touchdowns every time he touched the ball. So you had 10 days. Think about this, Who Dat Nation. You had 10 days to try. Like, this is what you should have done. I'm not a coach, but, you know, look, it is what it is. If I am a coach, if I see this, I'm talking to my film crew. I'm talking to people. I'm like, can you get me all of the Rashid Shaheed footage that you can find when he was in college? That's what I would do, right? And I would ask them to put it up in reels, right? Put the reels together. So you had 10 days to try to put together something or some packages for this dude, right? That can kind of utilize his strengths. But instead, the dude catches one pass, I think, in the third game, and then you don't see him again. But this is great play calling, right? This is great offensive mind work right here. This is a genius at work, right? You had one game where Taysom Hill basically took over an entire game, right? Ran through a whole defense basically by himself. And then the next week, he wasn't even on the field. Like, if he was, it was just some old QB power play. But this is great. This is great offensive innovation right here. This is a great offensive mind. This is one of the greatest offensive minds you can find in the NFL right now. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Like, there's nowhere in the world that a great offensive-minded coach will allow a talent like Rashid Shaheed to not be able to be utilized until maybe 4 or 5 games in. That's crazy. That is insane. And I'm not buying it. That play was really embarrassing. We could have hit a fullback dive 2 times in a row on 3rd and 4th and 1. Come on now. That loss was embarrassing against the Bucs. Yeah. Good morning, family. I'm just waking up after a long night at work. Lost for words. Dan Rauscher, let's say, wasn't he responsible for Juwan Johnson coming out season? Wow, I'm shocked at this nonsense. Well, like I said, they needed a scapegoat, and boy, did they find one. Like you talk about, I don't even know if that was low-hanging fruit. That wasn't even low-hanging fruit. They had to use a ladder for that one. Because, man, that was a Stretch Armstrong reach right there that they did. My goodness. But I'm about to go ahead and open up the phone lines, man. I want to hear what you all have to say. Let's talk a little bit about the decision for, bringing back P. Carmichael, not changing anybody on the offensive staff or the staff period, for the exception of Dan Rauscher, who I don't even think a lot of people even knew, right? You had to kind of get Wikipedia, go to the Saints main page in order for you to find them. But, that was the guy I guess they felt like were responsible for all these calamities this season. But I digress. Let's see. I'm not about to let the Saints give me a stroke. Yeah, I'm man. I ain't about to say I'm not emotionally connected to this team because I always will be because I'm a fan. But based on some of these decisions, it's like I won't be looking at the games with the passion that I did in years past. Like, I feel like anything that happens to this team, I feel like any decisions that backfire on them, they kind of brought on themselves. And a lot of the decisions to me are very 94-ish, 95-ish, right? The stuff that got the Saints losing all the time, right? They got them being a laughing stock of the league all the time. Like you got the Atlanta Falcons bringing in Brian Flores and also, bringing in, Vic Fangio. They trying to fix up their defense. Like, this team is trying to be aggressive. Meanwhile, the keep doing what you do mantra is basically reigning supreme right now. Like, we joke about that, but it seemed like to me like they live and die by that slogan. Keep doing what you do. It's amazing. And I'm embarrassed, man. I'm embarrassed. And I just feel like, man, how could they sit up here and just do this to fans everywhere, like people that dedicate their lives to this team and are extremely passionate about this team, and you use like your power to try to manipulate and try to use this whole buddy system to your favor. Like I said, this is an organization and personnel and front office with people that aren't afraid because they don't feel like heads will ever roll. Because, the Saints won a Super Bowl. They were an embarrassing franchise before that happened. And, now they won't be looked at as an absolute embarrassment, any longer, because of these guys. So I just feel like, I'm forever indebted to what you did for this organization. So we just kind of look past stuff and just, act as if it don't happen and give these guys like complete autonomy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. We're going to go to Chosen. Chosen, how you doing, man?
What's going on, TJ?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. What you got for us?
Man, look, I'm going to tell you like this, TJ, bro. I look at this whole thing like I'm not only looking at Mickey no more. I mean, like just Dennis and Mickey. I got to take it a step further, bro. Now I got to look at Miss Gail, bro, because I feel like there's no way you should be comfortable with what's going on. Like nobody's scared. Nobody's scared, man. And ultimately, TJ, man, that starts at the head. That starts at the top of the food chain. Nobody's holding no one accountable. So everybody feel like they're invincible to being fired or to being disciplined or to being and it's traveling down to the GM and it's gonna work its way down to the coaching staff and the coaching staff to the players. So the players don't see their coaches getting ridiculed, they don't see the GM getting ridiculed, they don't see the owner not doing this to the GM. It's like, what could you tell me then? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what could you tell me? And I could be wrong, bro, but I feel like the results, the action, nobody's afraid. Nobody's afraid. Nobody feels threatened. You know what I'm saying? Nobody feels threatened. And I feel like, TJ, bro, it's too much buddy going on in our organization, bro. It's too much buddy. I understand Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis was friends and everything, and Miss Gail loved Sean. They did what they did. But at the end of the day, this is a business, bro. Y'all can't keep holding on to memories, man. Talk outside of work. Like they tell us on the job. It's cool to be in here, but it's business first. Now, when y'all get out the gate, we could drink a beer and everything. But when it's in here, it's strictly business. It's nothing personal. And I feel like it's a lot of personal things that's going on in this organization, which lead to business getting mixed with pleasure, and guys not being able to hold these people accountable because they're afraid of relationships. I'm on Twitter. I see media people trying to defend the decision to keep Pete Carmichael and all this, trying to hold on to what happened back in 2009 and telling people to put some respect on the man's name and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, if that's the case, then we should be praising Andy Dalton then. We should be praising him for what he did in Cincinnati. Man, this is a what have you done for me now league. You cut up this week and then next week you could be shipped off some goddamn well. because we need productivity. I can't keep holding on what happening to back in the day. If that's the case, then we should still be holding on to that. Looks like that's what we're doing, holding on to that Super Bowl back in 2010. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna come a point in a time, TJ, where some gonna have to give, bro. Some gonna have to give. We it's too much buddy in this system. It's too much laughing hands and want to say the right things. People are scared to drop their nuts and say what's on their mind, bro. So what? So what if they hate you? When I watched that Last Dance documentary, it showed me a side of Jordan I thought I'd never see. But guess what? He said he did that because he knew it was something that he wanted to achieve that was greater than him. He wanted to win. And if that's what it took to get the best out of you, then so be it. If you don't play, don't play that way. If you hate me for wanting to get the best out of my organization and my passion, then fine by me. I wouldn't lose no sleep at night. TJ, this is your platform. You had to stay the same platform. I would not respect you if I felt like you was watered down, bro. You say what you mean. And I'm not just saying that. I would not respect you. I would not want to watch this show if I didn't know my boy wasn't going to give me the real. People are afraid. People are kissing behind. People want to tell people what they want to hear because they scared that they're going to cut off their supply or whatever it is they're giving them. People don't want to. People want interviews. People want the low. People want this. So I'm going to feed your ego. I'm going to tell you what you want to hear just so you can look out for me, which is selfish, and you're doing a disservice to your craft. You're doing it's showing me that you'll sell your soul. You have no beliefs. If you don't stand for nothing, so you'll fall for anything. You might as well just sell yourself. You might as well prostitute yourself to the world, because that's basically what you're doing. You're giving up something for something. You know what I'm saying? And you got to stand for something, bro. This whole organization, and I'm looking at the head. I'm looking at Miss Gail, and I'm looking at Mickey. Nobody want to hold nobody accountable. Why? Because you're holding on to the past. You're holding on to what they did for you. So what? It's starting to fade out. It's almost time for them to do something for you again. You know what I'm saying? We can't keep holding on what he did bring Sean. How that's going to look, TJ? We're going to be in 2030 dealing with Mickey Loomis, hollering about, well, he did bring us Sean Payton. God damn it, that was about to be almost 30 years ago. We got to get on the program. We need another fix. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you're saying. Look, the Saints benefit from two things. Number one, they don't have a shark infested water. They don't have shark infested waters like East Coast media, Philadelphia, New York. Like play like that DC area. They don't have that, right? It's a bunch of fluff news. Like I'm gonna be honest. Like I got respect for all the reporters because man, it's hard to like do that stuff all the time. But Catherine Terrell is the main one. Is the one I got the most respect for because she don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like she don't care about asking a tough question. She don't care about that. Like her main focus is to give the information that the people want and ask the questions that the people want to hear. It's not about, you know what I'm saying? I roll with this person. I seen them and they talk to me and they so nice. Like there's a lot of people that's nice, but at the same time, I'm going to call it for what it is. Like I'm not going to sit up here and try to sugarcoat nothing at all. I ain't trying to sugarcoat nothing. I ain't about to kiss nobody behind because, you know what I'm saying? I know them. And honestly, if you doing stuff like that, you definitely doing a disservice to them because you should look, there's a difference between business and, like you said, pleasure. Like you say, when you leave the light, y'all can be friends. But at the same time, if you're not doing your job and the team can be better, you got to call a spade a spade. When you start talking about, or, for example, like, oh, I know this person, I know them behind the scenes. Well, we don't. What we see is a guy who is responsible for a team offensively that averaged about 19 points a game and has given us one of the most boring offenses we've seen since like probably the Jim Haslett early days or even the Mike Dicker days. That's what it is. Like, I don't care. Like, I've like chosen, I already did made up in my mind. Like first and foremost, I ain't about to kiss nobody behind straight up 100% period. Everything that I have, this is why I got a lot of pride in everything that God has blessed me with, bro. Every subscriber, every interview that I've done, I can really truly say I stayed true to myself and I got it. I ain't about to sit up if that means like if I ask to interview somebody And let's just say, for example, I'm critical about something that they said or done, and they like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. Well, bye. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't need, I'm saying? I just don't need an interview like that. Like, I bring people on here not to elevate myself, but if I feel like you have something interesting to say, I'm gonna invite you. But if that means that I gotta sit up here and just say a whole bunch of nice stuff about you, even if it's not warranted, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
and that's just what it is, man.
Yeah, bro, because at the end of the day, man, you can't play hide and go seek with yourself. When y'all looking at me, I want to be happy with what I see with myself. I want to be able to say, like you say, how when you get off from doing your show, you want to be able to say, man, I gave the world my best. I told them the truth. You don't want to sell nobody short.
I ain't doing it.
It's like everything is getting watered down, bro. People afraid to try to get it out the mud. People afraid, man. You think they the only ones give you an interview? Go talk to these other guys. I can see why Sean probably want to leave now. After all this is going on, this man probably tired of having to play owner, play GM, play coach, play coordinator, and he only getting paid. We getting paid. It's enough is enough. It look like right now it's really making Sean look damn good, bro. Because not only is making the coaching staff making it like he was a good coach, it's making it like he was a good GM, and pretty sure it's gonna make it look like he was a damn good owner. So now right now, Payton, I'm like, damn, me leaving causing all this, ain't no way. And people can say what they say about the Cowboys. I said this on a show for last. I don't like the Cowboys, but if they had just even 1% of what Jerry Jones had in him, I respect Jerry. You know why? Jerry was cool with Jason Garrett. They ate nachos and drunk beer and hung out. He still had to put the boot to the you know what. You know why? Because it's business. It's business. I respect Jerry Jones, bro. They say he always want to be in the media and the videos, but the man conduct business. Right. He conducts business. It may not always be the right choice, but I'd rather have his mindset, but with another personality, his aggression, put it like that. His aggression. Because they talking about firing Mike McCarthy, he doing good. Just imagine what he would have did with these bums we got on the coaching staff. Right. Just imagine, Tim. You know what I'm saying? We starting to, except for I let you go, we starting to accept too much mediocrity. You know what I'm saying? Just getting by is enough. No, I'm not doing that. Cause just getting by ain't what made me become a fan. Just getting by ain't what made me want to put on that shirt and rock. It's the fight. And if I'm gonna go down, TJ, if you're gonna kick my ass, I don't mean to say it like that, but if I'm gonna get my ass kicked, TJ, I'm gonna go out swinging. I'm not just gonna let you abuse me and dog walk me. Like somebody say, you might win a fight, but they gonna know you was in a fight too. They gonna know you was in a fight too. And I feel like we just laying down, we in a fetal position, just taking licks. Go out swinging. If go down, if this organization gonna go down, at least give me some goddamn it to fight with.
Man, it's their Southern mentality, man. That's what they benefiting from. You alluded to that too. Look, we all know that the South is keen on tradition, right? You know what I'm saying? Like anything that give us that good feeling or a good moment, we gonna hold on to it. That's the reason why, they be having these same old like grocery stores out there. You know what I'm saying? My mama used to shop there. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to shop there. Now my kids gonna shop there. Like we just keen on tradition. Like anything that give us that good moment, like we just go roll up to it. And I just feel like because the Saints have been bad like throughout the years and they finally got like, those 15, 20, almost 20 years of prosperity, it's like they want to hold on to it. And they feel like, they forever indebted to guys like Mickey Loomis. So, he did bring us a championship. So, man, like they know what they're doing. But I'm like, man, they ain't changed, bro. Like, you got to be able to adjust with the times. Like that guy might have been good at that particular moment, but if you don't have the ability to adapt and change and adjust, like you just gonna, fall to the back of the line. It's almost like, man, if you sitting up here like, man, I want a quarterback, he got to be a statue in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? That's how I was coached. That's what the coach that brought me up taught me. Like if you don't change with the times, then you're gonna fall behind. It's just that simple. You can be good, but you may not be good for what's coming. You know what I'm saying? Errors change, personnel change, abilities change. You got to be able to adapt to that. If you try to be the same team, if you try to have the same personnel, like that's not going to always, end up in success. Even though in years past it probably ended up in success.
We got a lot of people stuck in their ways, basically, TJ. A lot of people
that's what it is. Stuck in their ways and. you know, and arrogant and ego as big as Alaska and Texas combined. I'm telling you, like this was an ego move right here. This was like this man knew. This man know that offense looked like slow, and he knows that the fan base is not happy with it. Like you got to know that. It's right. Like, and if you don't know, then you shouldn't be the GM in the first place.
Right.
But this was a move like, man, you know what? Like 2 middle fingers to y'all. I don't care what y'all say. You know what I'm saying? I'm calling the shots, and this is how we gonna run it. Like, man, miss me with that. And I just feel like, you know, if that's how you gonna roll, then we need to follow suit too, because people need to understand the power that they possess. They need to understand that we ain't taking this ish, right? So if y'all like, they better come out the gate winning. Like seriously, if they don't come out the gate winning, then we gonna have a problem. And everybody should hold their foot to the fire. But I can tell you what, these decisions right here, you're gonna have an empty Superdome. I'm telling you, that first home game, boy, it is not gonna be sold out. I don't care what they talking about on. I seen some people on like social media talking about that, like, man, you know, the season tickets on hold. I bet you they ain't on hold no more. I bet you ain't on hold no more. Ain't nobody about to come up in there.
He said, if I want to watch garbage, I go outside on Wednesdays and Saturdays when the truck.
Man, you ain't lying.
You know what I'm saying? I can watch that from my TV, like that woman say on Twitter. She say, well, you know what? We might go because the ticket's gonna be free.
Man, for real.
I ain't passing up no free Saints game.
Man, really. Go get you about $20 worth of gas and then come with free Saints tickets. That's what it's gonna be like.
Hey, look, that's what they used to do the Pelicans. If you want to see your favorite team play, wait till they play the Pelicans to see them for cheap.
That's how it's gonna be. They don't be careful, man. But hey, man, that's just the way that is. But Chosen, man, thank you so much. Sir. Appreciate you chiming in, man. Call back anytime.
Yes, sir, man. You have a good one. Be blessed, brother. Keep doing your job, TJ, bro. It's a lot of people support you, bro. Like a lot of real people support you, dog. Don't keep being real, man. Don't fall for the fake, bro. Everybody taking the cheese in the words of Sean.
Man, I'm good. I'm good, man. I ain't taking no cheese over here, man. I gotta stay true to myself, man. I gotta look at myself in the mirror. All right, take it easy, man.
You too, man.
Yeah, man. I gotta stay true to myself. Like I can't be concerned about it. You know, like I said, I don't have any animosity towards anybody, but it bothers me when I know for a fact that people can do better by like people that follow them, people that support them, and they're not doing it, and they start doing things for nefarious reasons. Like at the end of the day, like we all want to create content. We all want to build brands, of course, you know, but at the same time, I'm not trying to do it by alienating anybody, right? There are times where I want to, you know, I may not want to do a show. I don't like things may be happening in the world of sports, but I'm not feeling it. I'll tell anybody. And if you're new here, I'll tell you, like, if I'm not feeling it, then I'm not going to do it. That's why, you know, people ask me, you know, why don't the State of Saints podcast have a time slot? It's because if I say, okay, tune in at 7:00, I may not be feeling that 7:00. I want to be able to give you my all, whether it's my takes, my honest opinion, or my energy. And I feel like if you're not doing that, then you need to get pushed to the side. Like, I don't care who you know. I mean, I'm pretty sure like some of my takes and some of my views have shied away a lot of people. But if that means that I got to water down myself in order for me to make you feel comfortable, I'm not in that business. Because I don't feel like there's nothing that I said here on this show that I don't think I can say to a person. And if you disagree, then, you know, come tell me why you disagree. But, you know, I'm not in a business of trying to just tear people down without some type of, you know, evidence behind it. But I'm not going to sit up here and sugarcoat it either if you're not being your best. That's a disservice to everybody that's listening. So I will never, ever roll like that, ever. I don't. They ain't got a check yet. They don't have a check yet that I've seen that'll make me be able to do some stuff like that. We're gonna go to Jerry. Jerry, how you doing, man?
What's going on, TJ? How you doing today, bro?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. Appreciate you for stopping by. I know yesterday you was gonna chime in, day before yesterday. But what you got for us, man? A lot has happened over those last couple of days.
Oh my goodness gracious! I don't know where to start, TJ, but because Chosen spoke facts.
Yeah, man.
Came in, but TJ, after what I saw on Thursday when I heard the news about this, what we're talking about right now, Part of me just want to say something ugly. But I
think we all do.
I say, no, I'm gonna just keep it low. I'm gonna keep it calm, and I'm gonna just say what's on my mind, and I'm gonna just leave with it, just roll with it.
Right.
Because I don't know if some of y'all was on the Keeping It Real Who That Sports podcast with Dalton 17 and Coach Rock on Thursday night, but I said when I was coming in hot after this stunt been made, you best believe I came in as promised. I came in hot. I ranted, I raged, and if y'all haven't seen it, go check it out for yourself because part of me was just angry. I'm talking about full blown mad. Because
I think a lot, like Jerry, I think a lot of people were upset. Like I'll tell you where I was when I heard the news. I was actually was at Planet Fitness. I was just about to get on. Well, it was on a treadmill, and I was just walking and doing. And I surfed on Twitter and I seen Mike Triplett's tweet. I was mad at that same time. You know what I'm saying? I was like, if I wasn't in the gym and I have to go pick up Paxton immediately following that, I probably would have unleashed. So I mean, the fact that my wife worked late, so I couldn't go live. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I had time to like sleep on it and do a show, which I'm glad that I did. But yesterday, I think a lot of people were just upset, man, and just disgusted. And I'll tell you this, Jerry, for and let you continue here. I had a famous guy, you know what I'm saying, that follows the show. A famous guy that follows the show, supports the show. He said to me, man, these decisions are making me lose my faith in this football team. I mean, and I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? But the crazy thing is he isn't the only person that I've heard say that on yesterday.
Yeah, I got you. You. But hey, but I'm like I said in the past, TJ, I'm gonna still ride with this team do it all. I mean, through the good, through the bad, whether they may have a winning season or not, or whether they playoffs or not. Or no, I don't think we'll ever see a Super Bowl. I just want to have a better season, with these new people coming in. But Pete Carmichael of all people, why?
I don't get it.
Look, I'm gonna say this right here. Like who that nation? I love y'all. We wanted this man out of here, but the Saints reel Pete Carmichael back in. Why? I don't know, Mickey.
I don't get
Mickey,
it.
You need to step down. You need to freaking step down as general manager and let somebody else take your job. Because what I'm looking at right now, I'm tired of this buddy system, TJ. I'm tired of this buddies. Dude, that's like Chosen.
Me too, man.
I mean, we can be friends in real life, but when it comes to business, like in the Saints organization, we mean business.
Right.
You gotta understand that business is more than friendship.
Yep.
If you gotta make a living and you gotta do what you gotta do what's best for the team, you stick with that program. It's time out for all this buddy stuff, because it ain't gonna get us nowhere, TJ. Yep. Nowhere.
Jerry, I don't think a lot of people thought that he was gonna leave the organization. Because originally, before they asked him to be the offensive coordinator, he was going to stay on, as like some type of offensive consultant. So I don't think anybody thought like he was going to leave the organization because, I mean, obviously, it's the buddy system, right? You helped us win, back in the day, there's always going to be a spot for you. But I thought like, okay, you'll bump him up to an offensive, consultant, and then you'll bring in another offensive coordinator, which is not outside the realm of possibility. I can see them possibly bringing somebody else in, but the fact that you appointed him and kept him as the coordinator is almost like you're saying you had absolutely no problem with how things were going. It's not your fault. It's the team's fault. And we didn't, it was the players' fault. And those players did everything that they possibly can. And a lot of the decisions down the stretch, because of the coaching, cost the Saints these football games. Seriously. Like situational football, second half adjustments, cost them these games. So I don't understand how anybody can look at this and be like, it's the player's fault, not the coaches. I don't understand.
No. See that right there, that part right there, TJ. That's the one I have to address right there. Because what you said earlier speak volume. Because you was preaching about this, bro. You was preaching hard facts. You and Chosen and everybody in the chat. But I'm gonna speak my mind, dude. When something like this happens, bro, you got in the back of your mind, like, do we really want to go through this again? Dude, we got to stop living in the past with that nation.
Man,
This
for real.
2023 right now. I know we're gonna always cherish the Super Bowl victory we got in 2009, but this is 2023. We are in the now. This is now. We're trying to do things to get ready for next season right now. Because I'm waiting to see if Sean Payton do go to Houston and get those 2 draft picks in the first round. That's my main focus right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope and pray that happens. And if Sean Payton do go over there to Houston, I wouldn't mind people about Carmichael going along with him.
Yeah, me too.
Imagine if that happened.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that happening. Just like I mean, Dan Rauscher got fired. I'm pretty sure he probably gonna end up on Sean Payton coaching staff somewhere. Right. Guy been with the team for 10 years. Okay, like, so that shows me right there, like you have what it takes to let a guy go who's been with the organization for over a decade. So I mean, you did it with Dan Rauscher. So what makes Pete Carmichael so different? Like I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering, man. Like I said, I don't know. I don't have faith in this dude to be able to get the best out of these players. I don't have the confidence in the guy if you go away from the quarterbacks that you had, which are Jameis, Winston, Andy Dalton, that somebody else gonna come in. Like, let's just say if you bring in a rookie, I don't have the confidence in Pete Carmichael to get the best out of that rookie. I don't. So my thing is, this is basically telling us they're gonna try to bring back Andy Dalton again. What else? What other move are they gonna possibly make? It just seemed like to me like they felt like nothing was wrong with this team, or with just a bunch of injuries. But this team wasn't it, man. This team was not it. And I mean, these coaches, they are not it. They just not.
Exactly, TJ. And I was saying, it's not. It's the coaching. It's not the players.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we lost these games. It's the coaching. Man, look, like I said in the past, TJ, you got the players that you got.
Mm-hmm.
Not the guys that you need.
Yep.
But that's great. But the bad news is that it's the coaching. You gotta both of them things go together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's gonna win you football games. Bad coaching is gonna lose you football games.
Yep.
Good coaching. I mean, like, take for example, okay, like for let's say if the Saints go 3rd and let's say 2, what do you do? Okay, you got running backs. Let them run it to keep the drive going. Right. If it's 4th and 1, then you use a running back. Go quarterback sneak or something. Do something that works to keep your drive going, and that's what's going to make a good team. I mean, look at all these other teams out here like Dallas and San Francisco and Kansas City and Buffalo and those guys. They know what to do when it comes to like 3rd down situations. They know what to do when it comes down to 4th down situations. Keep that drive going. Run the ball. I said in the past, TJ, things will work better if you run the football. Right. Remember I said in one of your shows not too long ago, things will work out if you run the football. And that's what's going to help you win games if you run it.
Yeah. Look, I just think that the design runs they come up with, it's just not it. It's just not it.
Oh man,
the decisions that are being made right now. I mean, it's a lot of head scratches, and it's just funny to me once again that I'm watching people try to justify these decisions. Like, well, maybe it's not a bad idea, man. Like, man, what are you high? Like, you must got your hands on California finers or something, because something clearly is wrong, like with your malfunction. Like there's like, man, straddling the fence. Like, man, I can't. Like, I that bothers me, man. Like, Have a take, have some balls behind it. Don't be trying to straddle the fence. Like and stop trying to blow smoke up people behinds here. Like it's bad. Like these dudes were bad. Call it for what it is. They were not good. And don't try to justify it. Don't be like, they're not good. But, I sat down and I talked to this. Like, who cares? Like, I don't care, man. Stop trying to big up yourself. Trying to big up yourself. Trying to give yourself props. I talked to them last week and they told me, like, who cares what they said to you? They suck. You know what I'm saying? Where they at so I can tell them they not doing a good job? Where they at? Sure, let me tell it. Like, if you don't want to tell it, I will. I don't care. I don't care if I'm making somebody upset. That's not what that, man. I'm just over it, man.
Look, and Georgia said something else pretty good. I got a couple of more, TJ, and I'm gonna get out of here. Somebody else getting ready to come in, but one of them that Chosen just mentioned about the fans not being at the Dome likely this coming year. Just imagine. I told Dolph 17 this on Thursday night. The Dome gonna feel like 2020 when COVID hit. When the pandemic, it ain't gonna be no fans in the stands. It ain't gonna be like 65. You probably gonna look at about less than 10,000 at the Dome. That's likely what you're gonna look at, because I mean everybody ain't buying no merchandise, everybody ain't buying no seats. I mean,
then you doing renovations on the Superdome.
I'm trying to just get you some groceries from the store and just get you some food, get you some drink, all that good stuff. You got a big old smart TV or something like that. Watch the game on there.
Man, you ain't going to the Dome, nah, don't worry about going to. Hey, and then they got all these renovations coming through. Shoot, Gail Benson gonna have to call the furniture company and be like, man, we need to put out, we need to finance this couch. We need to finance this because the money that y'all thought that y'all was gonna be able to front this on ain't gonna be there. So you might have to go out there and take out one of them finance loans. Have to pay a little bit each month, because if there's any indication of what's to come, boy, I have to tell you right there, somebody gonna have to set up a payment plan. But Jerry, you got anything else for us, man?
Just one more. I mean, I didn't get a chance to talk about it, but as much as I do not like the Dallas Cowboys, I want to thank them for beating the Tampa Buccaneers on Monday. I want to thank them for doing that for us, because I don't want to hear all these Buccaneer fans talking about, oh, we're gonna try to make it back to the Super Bowl. We're gonna try to make it back to the. I say, not with Dallas standing in the way. Y'all can talk about it all you want, but Dallas knocked y'all out. And I was on. They would say they was there in the first place versus the NFL, and DJ. I told DJ, I said I called it, and I called it like it was, and Dallas came down to Raymond James Stadium and beat y'all as I promised.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he was pretty dejected, man. I was talking to him, I was texting him in real time, and he would he was like, man, y'all got room on that couch? I'm like, yeah. I said, man, we got room for you, man. So yeah, but he
next to just sit next to us.
Yeah, I mean, he understood. He understood like early in the game. So I mean, that's one thing about him, though. I see people like kind of like, man, who this guy is. Look, first off, man, DJ is one of my good dear friends, but he's not a delusional Buccaneers fan. Like he can call it for what it is, and just like he can call his shots and say, "Oh man, they're not going to win." If they lose, like he'll eat his crow. Like, and that's something that I respect about it. So I want to make that clear, because I mean, I did interview him on the Gumbo Pot, and of course he picked the Bucs to win, but it was early, like I said, early in the game, that he texted me and Mike, and he told us like, yeah, man, I need some room. Y'all slide over. So
that Prescott was balling that
shout
night.
out to my guy DJ, man. Yeah, that wasn't it, man. But Jerry, thank you so much, man. Thank you for your commentary. Thank you for chiming in. Really do appreciate it, man. Call back any time.
I will, TJ, and much love to you and your family, and much love to everybody in the chat. Who that to y'all? I mean, hey, I mean, we look, as Saints fans, we're gonna ride through this thing, man. Through the good, through the bad. Let's just keep it like it. Let's just keep the flow going. That's all we can do.
That's all we can do, man. Rather than lose our minds watching this team, and I can't lose my mind, man.
Definitely don't lose your mind, because we don't want that to happen.
Nah, no way. Nah, I'm good. But Hey, man, appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
You thank you, TJ, and y'all have a good weekend.
Yeah, take care. Yeah, yeah, man, I ain't about to lose my mind over this team, and you shouldn't either. You know, it's extremely frustrating to watch this team, but nevertheless, you know, I mean, don't let it just get down. You know, just get you down. All right. Speaking of which, you know, it's very important to have, you know, a clear head, good mental health. That's very, very important. And the State of Saints podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp.com. It is a virtual therapy program that you can take advantage of. There's so many people out here that you know want to work on their mental health. Wish they could talk to somebody. I don't have time to go to an office. I don't have time to go sit in somebody's office every single week or, you know, every month. I don't have time for that. Well, BetterHelp can help you because once again, it's virtual, right? Sign up. They provide you with the right therapist, counselor to be able to help you cope. You know, that's something very, very important to me because, you know, I've dealt with anxiety and depression and battled with my mental health throughout the years. And, you know, the best decision I made was, you know, being able to sit down and talk to somebody and be able to work some things out. So the link is in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that, you know, click the button, learn a little bit more about it. There's a questionnaire that you can take. You know, don't be afraid to, you know, try to figure out what's going on with you and try to get better. You know, so BetterHelp.com, official sponsor of the State of Saints podcast. Check them out. Maybe it's for you. Alfred, thank you very much for the $1.99. Says they must be ordering a new playbook off Amazon. Nah, that's too modern, Alfred. They mostly ordering they playbook off Tecmo Bowl. The first Tecmo Bowl. Walter Payton was the running back. You know, you only have a few plays, run play over here, pass play over here. You hear that blank, blank. That's what kind of offensive plays they running. I'm gonna scroll down before I get to Jordan. It says if Baton Rouge can come up with the money to finance a new stadium, the Saints are gone. Facts. Fill the team out with the picks this year and get a quarterback next draft. That's how they're thinking. Suffer now for the future game. Well, look, if that's the case, I wouldn't mind. Like if that means that you're going to get a quarterback of the future that you're going to be able to win with, I'm about that. All right. If these guys are the sacrificial lambs for us to get to that point, I'm about that. Right. But my goodness, like when you look at it in real time, you think to yourself, do I really want to go through this nonsense again? Whew. Let's go to Jordan. Jordan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
All right, man. What you got for us?
Yeah, I'm just like, do you think they're trying to tank at this point? Because, like, bro, this is just tanking move for you. Like, like Carmichael, bro. Like, if you seen that last game, I saw what you said about the last game. Like, Pete Carmichael's good, like, in terms of, like, coming to the game, you know, scripting plays. But, you know, when the game gets tight, like, you know, his palms get sweaty. You know, he doesn't know what decisions to make.
Right.
So, I don't know I just don't know the thought process behind that. Like, against the Bucs game, Kirk Merritt didn't play the whole season. At the end of the game, they put this man in at the end of the game. They call a play for this man. Like, and on 3rd and 1, they throw a slant to Marquez Callaway, who's in the doghouse the entire season.
Right.
Like, dude, how you justify these decisions? Like,
I'm still trying to wonder. You know, I don't know. Like, how is it that, like you said, game on the line, you run like a goal line package. You don't have like none of your Olave ain't in the game. Kamara ain't in the game. Ingram at this time, he was hurt. He wasn't in the game. Like, and you only people on the field you got is Kirk Merritt and Taysom Hill. So you got yourself a quarterback. I mean, a tight end that used to be a quarterback, and you got yourself a wide receiver. I mean, a running back who used to be a wide receiver. So two guys who basically had to change their positions to fit your offensive scheme you got out there, right? So that means that whatever position they're in right now, there's a learning curve. Why would you put them out there in a situation like that? And then on top of that, once again, the last game of the season. Like, I think the Carolina Panthers, they played tough. They wanted Steve Wilkes to be their coach. You can tell they played like that. But my goodness, when you got a quarterback that throws for 43 yards the entire game, you're telling me that you only can score one time, and that's on the opening drive. And this is the guy that you're going to bring back, a guy who, as an offensive coordinator, his team averaged 19 points a game. It is unbelievable that they did this. Like, nobody saw this coming, man, at all.
It better work. Like, that's the only justification. Like, they fired the tight end coach. Like, Juwan Johnson had a good season. Like, there was really no need for that. Like, so you think he's a product of Sean Payton because Sean Payton was the one calling the plays. But like, Pete Carmichael was good at what he was doing, like overseeing some of the stuff. Like, I don't take that away from him, but like him, like this was his first year as full-time calling the plays, and you see this man was calling HB dives like his Madden, just running Derrick Henry, running African American like he Derrick Henry,
right?
Like,
Earl Campbell or something, like Adrian Peterson back in the heyday. Yeah, look, Jordan. I really feel like, based on what I've seen this season, the dude is a poser. Like, I'm sorry. Based on what I've seen, he's looking like a poser. I don't know if he is or not. Look, I'm more of a person like, I give you another opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll give another opportunity to see what you're talking about. But the dude, like, based on all the things that I've seen in certain situations, he looked like a poser. This guy, to me, is a recipient of Sean Payton's success and Drew Brees' success. And, he was the middleman. He got a little nickname, Sneaky Pete. But what has Sneaky Pete ever done? Like, I'm wondering why they calling you Sneaky Pete. Are they calling you Sneaky Pete because you come up with good plays? Or are they calling you Sneaky Pete because, you sneak off and get, Sean Payton juicy fruit? I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on. All I know is the dude looking like a poser to me. Like, he don't look like he is all that. I just think that it seems like, he was in a room when, like, let's just say it's Bill Gates' partner, and then you have somebody in the back room, and they talking about this new idea called Microsoft, right? We're going to build these computers, and we're going to do all these different things, and you just in the background. And so, and when they write the history, Bill Gates, this guy, and the guy in the back, your name going to be somewhere associated with it because you was in a room when greatness occurred. I'm looking at P. Carmichael, and I'm wondering to myself, is this one of them same instances, Jordan? I'm wondering.
I think this team just likes mediocrity because, like, you seem like Andy Dalton's cool, but like, you just need to make plays. Like, they never threw Jameis in like ever again. That just never made sense to me. Like, you need to win. Like, you need to make plays. Jameis probably gonna put a ball in harm's way, but hey, he's proven himself to be a playmaker. So you gotta make plays. You see how he's making Tre'Quan Smith look? He's making Tre'Quan Smith look good. Andy Dalton wasn't making Tre'Quan Smith look good. Like, so.
What I don't get is how do you see that this team needs room for improvement, but they just doubled, like, the most amazing thing to me is how these boys double down on nonsense. Like, it's crazy. Like, no matter what the decision is, they'll stand by it. Like, they talk about Andy Dalton, he completed these many passes, this, that, and the third, but you're not winning. Like, you're not winning any football games. And they just constantly, basically just thrust this dude out here each and every week. I ain't not like, you seen other teams. Like, they have a quarterback. This dude will throw for like 300 yards or something like that. They'll probably have like 2 touchdowns, 3 picks or something. Right? Something like this dude don't even be registering a touchdown or an interception. Like, yards be like 150, 175.
But he's not good enough to keep the job. Like, he's not good enough to, like.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's my whole point. That's my whole point. Like, how is it that, like, most teams, like, okay, man, he ain't bad, but we can get more. The fact that they didn't even think twice about trying to go back to Jameis. They didn't think twice about this. I'm like, at least, like, okay, man, we not making a postseason. It look like we ain't gonna do it. Or, man, this dude, like, I think after that San Francisco game, when they didn't score no points, that should have been the time. Like, you should have seen. Like, yeah, Andy's doing a pretty good job, but we're gonna try to see if we can go in a different direction. It just seemed like to me and this is one of the main reasons I feel like he gonna come back. They knew that if they was to go back to Jameis Winston, their chances of getting Andy Dalton to re-sign with the team this coming year would be probably a stretch. But that goes to show you right there, Jordan, what is this team's mind frame at. Like y'all have fallen off so tremendously that y'all worried about how your team is gonna look to Andy freaking Dalton.
Like you can replace him easy.
Thank you. That's my whole point.
The best thing for the team is just to get like a draft, like get some draft picks and like go from there. Because I just don't know where they'll go. Like with Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael. Like, hey, I'm with you, bro. Like you gotta show me. Like if they prove me wrong, hey, I'm glad. I'm glad to say I was wrong. But from what I've seen, I don't see anything.
Nah, I don't see anything, man. I mean, look, these are very knowledgeable people. You know, I don't think that you stay in the league this long if you don't know what you're doing. But sometimes it's not about knowledge. It's about instincts. It's about feeling a game. It's about having confidence in yourself and your abilities. And I'm not seeing that, man. It takes more than just understanding offense and defense to be able to be a coach. And especially as a head coach, you definitely need to understand. You have to understand people, and you got to be able to come up with a message that people can resonate with, that'll get them to respond the way that you want them to respond. And I'm not saying
don't believe their job's on the line because you seen Will Lutz missing field goals, and they don't even bring another kicker in. Like you seen the Cowboys, that guy Brett Maher, he missed all them field goals. They bring another guy in.
Yep.
Like
because that's the way it's supposed to go.
The guys aren't scared to lose their jobs. Like you see Paulson and Debo. I feel like Dan Allen said, "Hey, you're a cornerback 2 coming in this season, no matter what." Alontae Taylor balled his tail off.
Yep.
And he still doesn't get the job. Like so, that just shows they're stuck in what they saw before the season, and they don't want to change anything.
Man, thank you. Like that's another thing. Alontae Taylor clearly was playing much better than Paulson and Debo. Now, I'm not saying when Lattimore came back, you should just completely wipe off Paulson and Debo. Yeah. But you're telling me that you couldn't find a spot for him in the slot? You telling me that you couldn't find him somewhere in the rotation in that game versus the Philadelphia Eagles? Like, it's just like you said, it's just stuff like that. Like, I agree with you, man. It's just these guys do not have the pulse on the team, and it just seemed like they way over their head. You got
they had posts at the end of the season. Remember, they started going for it. Like it's too late now. Like, but hey,
yeah. I mean, but man, too little, too late. Like, and then it seemed like it was just fake and phony. You know, like I said, I just felt like somebody was probably talked to the coaches, probably went to the higher ups. Maybe the higher ups probably got into the ear Mickey Loomis. Mickey Loomis got into the ear Dennis Allen. Because people were talking about how conservative they were. They were talking about him not showing any fire, any grit on the sidelines. Then all of a sudden, like after somebody brought that to their attention, here come the photographer inside of the locker room, the videographer up in there, showing him having all these fiery speeches. Like it was just fake, man. It was just fake. Like it would just seem like it was just something that they did to try to get fans to believe that this dude is something that he's not. And he's not. Like, look, you can't play me. You know what I'm saying? and clearly you can't play other people because they seeing right through that nonsense. Straight up.
Yeah, but that's it. That's all I wanted to ask. But you have a good one though.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Jordan, man. Call back anytime, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Jordan, man, got some points, man. Like it's just, man, you gotta be able to. Man, you got to be able to adjust. You got to be able to put the right people in place in order for you to be successful. And when you see guys out here making plays, that's, you know what I'm saying? You got to roll with those guys. You got to roll with them, man. And you can't be sitting up here caring about what somebody else thinks. And the craziest thing about it is, if I'm not mistaken, I think the New Orleans Saints had another kicker. I want to say they had another kicker on the squad already. If I'm not mistaken, what's the dude name was? Romo or something like that? It was like Parker Romo or somebody. Like I can't think of his name, but somebody look him up. But it was a kicker that they had. he was doing really well in preseason. And I think when I was checking, I think he was still on the roster. I don't know if they put him like on a practice squad or they hit him out or something. But I can't think of the guy's name, but I know it was something Romo. So he was a kicker and he was doing pretty well. So I'm like, how is it that you didn't even try to get this guy to compete? Like there was no other kicker out there at all. Like Will Lutz was looking bad. He was kicking like 70-some% of his kicks. That's terrible. Like that's absolutely terrible. But go ahead and read some of your comments. Let's see. TJ, they couldn't go back to Winston because they lied on that man, talking about Winston healthy. But we sticking with Dalton for performance reason. Yeah, right. Can't go back after saying that. Yeah, you couldn't go back to it. But you know the thing about it, Brandon, yes, you could. Like there's certain guys you can't go back to, but I feel like Jameis would have been the one that you could have went back to. And I'm going to tell you why. Not because that man ain't got no backbone, but I just feel like the dude loves football. Like he loves playing the game of football. Like, come on, man. You got guys like Marcus Mariota, who after he got benched for Desmond Ridder, you know, he left the sidelines. You ain't see him no more for the rest of the season. When who was this? Jarrett Stidham or who they went with? I don't know, man. Jarrett Stidham or one of these other guys when the Raiders went with him. Derek Carr stayed at home. Jameis Winston got benched and was at every single game as a backup. And you see this guy on the sidelines when guys making catches and stuff like that, patting them on the back, helping them up, firing them up. Like the dude is just different. So when people say, nah, you can't go back to Jameis, yeah, you could have. Yeah, you could have went back to him. Now, that's like, honestly, on that alone, I don't care if you like the guy or not, you got to respect that. Because even though this dude was lied to, borderline manipulated, he still was on the sidelines repping for his team. How many guys are going to be doing some stuff like that? Seriously. How many guys? Like, Jameis Winston, well within his rights, could have been like, I had arm, I got the arm talent. I got the ability. I shouldn't be on the sidelines. Y'all need to go ahead and try to trade me. There were teams that were desperate for quarterbacks towards the middle of the season. And Jameis Winston could have found himself on somebody else's team. But he stood on the sidelines. He was in the middle of the huddle, still doing his ad-libs when Demario Davis was talking, and still was out there with the same energy he would have had if he was a starter. I don't see how anybody, in my honest opinion, can't respect the dude after that. Like, you can talk about, oh, man, his ability, oh, he ain't a good quarterback. You can say all these things. But I gave you two instances of guys who were benched, right? And they left the sidelines. They left the team. They did not come back anymore. They stayed at home. And yet this guy was lied to and manipulated. And yet he still was on the sideline. How can anybody not have no respect for something like that? I don't know. I really don't. Cool Sports Poem, thank you very much for $4.99. Says our front office ain't serious about winning. How we keep DA and Carmichael with how bad we look this season. I have absolutely no clue. I don't. Yeah, John Parker Romo. That was his name. Thank you, Chosen. I know it was John Parker Romo or something like that. I know it was something Romo. I know he had like two last names. Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson weren't on the sidelines with their team. Jameis Winston was. Thank you very much. That's another thing, and how we talk about Michael Thomas also. Michael Thomas don't be on the sidelines, right? Like all these different guys who, when they have these injuries, when things don't go their way, they not on the sidelines. But yet this dude sits up here and supports his team. So when people say, when I made that statement about, they need to let Jameis play, they was like, man, he ain't going to want to play. Yeah, he would have. At any point, they could have been like, man, if they would have yanked Andy Dalton, look, it could have been a fourth quarter. Like, seriously. The league could have been insurmountable for the Saints, to like be able to overcome. Jameis Winston would have came in that game and still, you know what I'm saying, been trying to facilitate and trying to win the football game. Because that's just who this dude is. Like he's a different dude. Like him being on that sideline speaks volumes, and people don't even realize that. Like people still want to criticize the man and ridicule him, but I'm like, look all those other guys who can't put their ego in check. Who, when they say that they got benched, you know, they felt like they were so embarrassed they didn't even want to come around. So I don't think there's a person out there that can say that dude is just a me guy. Like on that alone, like I don't care how Jameis Winston's career pans out. Just on that alone, like dude can play on my football team. You know what I'm saying? He can play on my football team. So that's what I don't understand. Like how anybody can say that this dude like don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. That if it was well within anybody's rights to sit at home, it's him. This man was told if he sits down and gets himself well, his job not going to be taken, and it was snatched right from under him. And nobody seems to care, right? Because the way they justify and back that up is they start talking about 2019. They either going to prove us wrong or prove us right. Yep, that's it. No in between. Jameis is y'all best chance, or I hope he goes back to the Bucs. Look, I don't know if he's going back to the Bucs or not. I just want to see this man get opportunity, a fair opportunity. I want to see this man get an opportunity to be able to make or break himself. And the Saints didn't give him that. And anybody that's sitting up here saying that, oh, he showed us what he had as a Saint, you're not being truthful. You can talk about those 3 games, but like I said, on several other episodes, there have been times at the beginning of the season, even some of the most elite quarterbacks, good quarterbacks, average quarterbacks look terrible. So who knows how this season would have turned out for him? Like, it's all speculative at this point. Dennis Allen has his leaders talking to his team while he did nothing until the cameras were in the locker room. Then he gave his little rah-rah speech. Exactly. Nobody buying that stuff. Saints get a number 1 and traded to be more for Jackson and Roman. Greg Roman is gone. Greg Roman was fired by the Baltimore Ravens. That happened, yesterday? So Greg Roman is no longer there. So there you go. I wish Jameis could tell the whole story of what happened with him and Dennis Allen, but I don't think he would ever do it. Yeah, because of who he is. I'm pretty sure probably like when his career is over, he'll probably tell it. But right now, man, you got to, man, y'all know how it is, man. Y'all know that system that they have, that good old boy system in the NFL. You start running your mouth, other teams start looking, well, how can we trust him? Things start going wrong. He might throw us under the bus. So, I don't think as long as he's in the NFL, you probably going to hear that story. Mickey not really a football guy, more financial than football. What is that shirt you're wearing, TJ? Is that your merch? Yeah, man, this is from the Unapologetic podcast brand that I have. When I first started out, got some merchandise. This was just a sweater that I made back in the day. I ain't wear it in a long time, so I put it on this morning. Let's say this could be nonsense, stuck in the past thinking, but the Saints not making coaching changes is too weird. What if they aren't changing things because Payton is coming back? Look, I don't think Sean Payton is coming back. I'd be shocked if he did. I think a lot of these players alluded to what my train of thought was, and that is, how can you sit up there and talk about these guys giving it they all and not quitting and not giving up, and then all of a sudden, like, I can't see you doing it, because those players in the back of their mind going to be like, well, what did you do? You know what I'm saying? Back in 2022, like, you quit, you walked away when things seemed like they was getting rough, right? And you can say, oh man, that ain't the case, but look at it. Your legendary quarterback retires, right? You inherit a quarterback that's known for being a turnover machine. You're asking yourself, what, can you get the best out of this guy? You got a 9-8 season. You lose 4 straight for the first time I think you have as a coach. And then, you just walk away. So how can you come back into the locker room and tell these guys to not give up, not quit? We got them right where we want them. I don't see that, right? And I think Cam Jordan kind of alluded to that, even though people are like, man, that ain't it. It's amazing to me how people just like so dilute, like they don't want to believe something that's just so obvious in their face. And you know what really bothers me about some folks? It's the people that's the contrarians. Those are the people that really get on my nerves when it comes to like social media. Like they like people who know that facts are right there in their face. You got thousands of people that feel this way, and then all of a sudden, like they just come through. Nah, that ain't it. Nah, that ain't it. Like they trying to like bait you into an argument, right? Like Sean Payton did not want to coach the New Orleans Saints. The man wanted to go to the Miami Dolphins. I don't know if people just don't want to believe it. I don't know if people just think that this is just speculative. No, it was going to happen. The dude was trying to push his way out, right? That's why, like, if you listen to his press conference, there was some wiggle room. There was some wiggle room, you know what I'm saying, for him to kind of just jump right back into coaching. The dude didn't want to be here, period. That's the reason why he left. So why would somebody sit up here and just bring him back? And honestly, I do think by him coming back is going to affect, you know, some of those guys in the locker room. Now, maybe not the guys that were there, you know what I'm saying, some of the younger guys who probably never was coached with him, but, you know, leaders like Cam Jordan, like Demario Davis, like, you know, like people like that you might have to get rid of if you bring Sean Payton back. I think guys like a Paulson Adebo or, you know, a Lattimore, you know, some guys like that, like I don't think that they would actually too much care. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think they probably deal with Sean, but they probably deal mostly with Den as far as with the defense and all that kind of stuff is concerned. So I think if you're going to go that route, you're going to have to get rid of like Cam Jordan and Demario Davis and stuff like that, because I don't see these guys not allowing that to affect them. Now, they're going to be professional about it, but I think they're always going to be looking at them sideways. And also, as a fan, you have to wonder to yourself, how committed is this dude to this franchise? How committed is he to this team? Like, you know, is he trying to go for the long haul? Is he trying to put the right pieces in play for this team to win? Is he going to see it through? Or is he going to be Deion Sanders? You know what I'm saying? Like, for the next opportunity come up, you know what I'm saying? Big money, big opportunity. Are you going to exit stage left? Right? What are you going to do? So there's always going to be those thoughts in the mind of the masses. And, you know, I just think that those guys had a problem with that, man. I don't look, we know that Cam Jordan, you know, he's a funny guy. He's witty. He's entertaining, but he's pretty calculated with his responses. He's not going to allow you to back him into a corner, and he's not going to give you anything he doesn't want to give you. And by him saying that in his final press conference, I felt like they spoke volume. When he is talking about people saying that they're going to be here, but they left, they go do TV. Like, how do you not see he's talking about Sean Payton with it? And then, you know, I was watching, you know, Kay Adams' show, and she had Mark Ingram on there. And, you know, Mark Ingram was like, you know, I mean, he leaves and then he comes back, you know, like, and people just, you know, kind of fell into, well, he said he wanted him to be back. I mean, why wouldn't he want him to be back? But at the same time, in the back of his mind, that don't negate the fact that those guys are going to look and be like, hey, you know what? I mean, like, how committed is this dude to this team? I think that's a fair take. We have to ask ourselves, like, do you really want Sean Payton back? You know, I mean, of course he'll take him back because of his coaching pedigree, but how committed is he to the team? Like, if you need a new quarterback, you need a new offensive line, you need, like, are you going to be there to fix it? You know, I mean, honestly, you can say what you want to say about Belichick, say what you want to say about Tomlin, say what you want to say about Harbaugh. But when those guys had to move on from their quarterbacks, they didn't quit. They didn't leave. And they definitely didn't act and pretend like it didn't happen. And also, since I'm thinking about this, Chosen made a good point. All right. And when he was talking about Sean Payton, like how instrumental was Sean Payton, you know, because what we actually see since he left, we seeing, you know, holes in the boat when it comes to GM, holes in the boat when it comes to offensive coordinator, holes in the boat when it comes to, you know, the whole team as a whole. So I'm just wondering to myself, okay, if we can acknowledge that and see that, then how is it that the world can't see that this dude is responsible for some of the bad decisions that like, we can't just sit up here and just say, oh, you know what I'm saying, all the good things. Look at all the good things that Sean did, but not look at the fact that he said that, you know, Taysom Hill is the next Steve Young. Dennis Allen should be my successor. All these different things that you said over the course of time, right? These are all the things that you said. So we all fall in love with the right decisions, but we don't fall in love with the wrong decisions. And how is it that people can't see the fact that this dude was so instrumental with the selection of the players? I even heard once, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Nick Underhill said that he was responsible for the new helmets that they wearing. So you're instrumental about all these things, but all of the bad things that have happened with this team over the years, you completely like just absolve yourself from that, and it's not Sean Payton's fault. How? How is it that you're this great guru and great coach, but you didn't even try to pick a successor for Drew Brees when you realize that you have to parade out Taysom Hill anytime a pass needs to go past 20 yards? I'm just confused. I'm just confused. How is it that we can get this dude so much props for all the good, but everybody says that he's so instrumental with everything around the team, but nobody seems to give him any flack about the bad decisions that have come down over the last 3 to 4 years? I don't know. You can't have it both ways here. So if I'm gonna give you the props for being this behind the scenes GM, this behind the scenes offensive coordinator, behind, you know, quarterback whisperer, what have you. So, you know, what the heck going on? And then on top of that, you know, the Saints completely like tried to give him what he wanted over and over again, so much that they exhausted the cap. You know, like they always in cap hell because they try to give you all the pieces in place. And then finally, you know, like you still dealing with cap hell because they trying to give you what you want, and then all of a sudden you just dip out. So I don't understand. It's almost like, you know, it's almost like a person who, you know, starts dating a rich person starts dating somebody, and then they just with you and they taking all the trips with you. They going to Morocco, they going to Spain, they going to Cabo, they going to Lake Tahoe with you. And then all of a sudden when the money run out, I think we need to see other people. Oh, I had my gripes with Sean Payton. Trust me, 2018 NFC Championship, which ironically is 4 years to the day today. 1st and 10, Rams have 3 timeouts past the 2-minute warning, and you throw a slant instead of run the ball and burn the timeouts. Brute, I will say this to his defense, that wasn't his decision. His decision was to run the ball. Drew Brees checked out of that and turned it into a pass because he felt like he had, which he did. He had the right matchup. He just threw the ball too low. So Sean Payton called a run play. That was a run play. Drew checked out of it. All right. So I don't want to look. We can talk about Sean Payton, but I want to just throw stuff out there that not true. Okay. He wanted to run the football on that play after the 2-minute warning, and Drew Brees checked out to a quick slant to Michael Thomas. He just threw it too low. So wasn't a bad, and honestly, neither decision was bad. It just, like I said, Drew Brees threw the ball too low, and Mike didn't catch it. So Sean get a lot of blame for what went wrong in our current state right now. I've always given him the blame for that, just as I have for the success. Yeah, but I mean, you do, Dennis, of course, but there are a lot of people out there that cover this team. And also guys that you know, part of the national media that don't really know what's going on, but they put Sean Payton on his pedestal, justifiably so. I mean, look, the Saints were a terrible organization. He made them relevant. You got to give him credit for that. But it's like they amplify all his achievements, the things that are his shortcomings, they minimize, so they kind of sweep under the rug. I mean, Sean Payton is just as responsible for some of the decisions just as much as Mickey Loomis is. You know, that's just what it is. Now, you can't have it both ways. Like, you can't say, oh, man, you're so instrumental. I think it's basically them telling you, you know, everything you need to know is like right there in front of you if you think about it. If you peel back the layers, you'll see it. So if he's responsible for all these things, how is he not responsible for the bad things? How is he not responsible for the bad things that have taken place over the years? From, not getting the right quarterback, not choosing a successor, for a true successor, not drafting a quarterback, not trying to find a quarterback. I said things like that. That's why I say it was phony when he went on a Collins show and said he knew Mahomes was going to be special. He had no problem trading up for Davenport. I think that he knew. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be real. I think he knew. There was articles that came out and talk about how the Saints were real high on Patrick Mahomes. Like they really said that, and they also said that he showed up to practice and he seen him throw and he was done with it. Now, at this particular point, it's like it's like gambling, right? You might win, you might lose, right? There was a time where he said that Alvin Kamara was the second coming of Marshall Faulk, which he looks like it, and then there are times when he says Taysom Hill is the second coming of Steve Young, and that's not true, right? So I guess like when you're giving your opinion, sometimes you hit, sometimes you don't. There's no different between us picking games, no different between us thinking that somebody's going to be big time and they don't end up being that way, or you choose somebody and say they're going to be big time and they end up being that way. So sometimes, you got to call your shot. Sometimes you look like a genius. Sometimes you look like a moron, but I guess that's why we do it. Just imagine we could have had Lamar or Mahomes. Yeah, well, I don't know. Look, I'm willing to concede about the whole Mahomes thing because, the Chiefs jumped in front of you because they knew you were going to select him. Okay, I can concede to that. That's just being aggressive. But you really, 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 really legitimately could have had Lamar Jackson. Like there was nothing stopping you from getting Lamar Jackson. There was nothing stopping you from getting this dude. Besides the fact, like, it's a difference between a team wanting a guy and they just can't have him. That's what happened with the Chiefs. And a team have an opportunity to get a guy and they just don't get him. They just did not want Lamar Jackson. It's that simple. Not only did they not want him, they felt like Davenport was worth a sacrifice, a first-round pick the following year. A first-round pick the following year to acquire this dude. So, like, that tells you right there, like, that dude wasn't even really on their mind like that. They had no interest in this guy. So, yeah. If we managed to get the top 15 pick for Payton, would you go quarterback or defense? Your boy, Jay, I'm going to tell you like this. If it was me, I'm getting quarterback. Now, what I feel and what they feel is two different things. I feel like this. I still feel they won't draft a quarterback. Like even let's just say, for example, if Sean Payton goes to the Texans and the Texans give the New Orleans Saints a 12th pick in the 12th pick in the draft, I still feel that they won't get themselves a quarterback because once again, Dennis Allen is on the hot seat going into this season in 2023. Well, he should be. I can't even say he's on the hot seat because based on these decisions, who knows? Like this might be our coach for the next 4 to 5 years. But I really feel like this dude is not going to put his coaching career in the hands of a rookie quarterback. And honestly, and I said this before, and I'm sounding like a broken record at this point, I don't want him to. I want him to select the guy he wants, right? If you feel like my job in jeopardy, I got to go with myself a free agent, go out there and select your guy. That way, if it do not pan out, it leaves very little doubt or no doubt that you're not the guy. I don't want any excuses because if a rookie quarterback comes in and he's not playing well and he's playing like a rookie, then it's going to be another excuse. Oh, it's the rookie quarterback. He needs to gain experience. It's not Dennis Allen's fault. It's not his fault that the guy's a rookie. It's not his fault that he hasn't adjusted to the speed of the game. All these excuses we heard last year are going to catapult themselves into this year. So I don't want to hear that. I'd rather them go out there, get themselves a free agent guy, allow him to go out here and be as conservative, and we ain't going to go for it on 4th and 1. Yeah, you know what I mean? The chances of us getting this first down are slim to none, so we not going to do it. We going to punt, you know what I'm saying? Even though we in the opponent's territory, like let them do all these things that get you beat and get this dude up out of here, and then we can move on and maybe get back to the winning ways that we once were accustomed to. I don't want it. I don't want that. And honestly, I don't think you should want it either, because they're gonna, if they draft a rookie quarterback and it don't pan out, or he goes through a little bit of some growing pains, they're gonna use that to bring this dude back yet again, and that's something that I do not want. I do not want that. Would you even be comfortable with Pete Carmichael, Dennis Allen, to the extent nurturing a young quarterback in his tendencies? No, I would not. I would not. Like not just Pete Carmichael alone. Not just Pete Carmichael alone. And be careful. You know what I'm saying? Like, would not be surprising to me if the Saints bring back Joe Brady. Oh, Joe Brady, he has experience with young quarterbacks. Look what he did with Justin Herbert. You know, like, don't be surprised they try to bring him back too, if he don't decide to go with Sean Payton wherever he goes. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised that, you know, somebody say, you know, Lou, Joe Brady returns back to the Saints after being after parting ways. You know, they say parting ways for them. Parting ways for, you know, with the Chargers. Yeah, right. They aren't drafted a quarterback this year. They won't do that to a young quarterback, maybe Hooker, since he's been hurt coming. Yeah, I mean, look, you can draft Hendon Hooker, that's fine. But you know the crazy thing about it, if you go on PFF Draft Simulator and, you know, the Saints got the 40th pick in the second round, if you draft Hendon Hooker, they give you an F. Like, how do you get an F for drafting a guy who should have been a Heisman Trophy finalist and put on, you know, one of the best statistical performances in NCAA history? I mean, I just don't understand. Like, how can you not, you know what I'm saying, look at this dude as a good idea just because he has a injury, even though it's an ACL. Modern medicine has taken steps forward. It's not a death sentence like it once was. You know, like you said, TJ, we trying to get Caleb Williams. Yeah, based on these decisions, it seemed like that. Seemed like that's what seemed like that's what they're trying to do. I'm gonna read a few more and then we're gonna get up out of here. Said not just because of the money, but because Carr just don't have it anymore. I don't know if Carr doesn't have it anymore or not. I don't know. I don't know what he has. You know, I know that Josh McDaniel is a poser, just like Dennis Allen is a poser. You know, Pete Carmichael, what he looking like a poser. So I don't know how good this dude actually is. I know one thing. Last year, Derek Carr had his team in the playoffs. This season, like, they couldn't even get there. So, I mean, I don't know. So, will a real Derek Carr please stand up? You don't mess up a young quarterback's career with these passive coaches. I agree. This man will be sitting up there trying to throw a ball down the field, making a big play. What are you doing? Well, you should have caught it. It went through his hands. No, you check it down. Like, man, try to kill his man confidence. I like TCU quarterback Max Duggan. Yeah, I mean, and they had his draft stocks dropping. I think the most recent draft simulator I seen on this PFF, of course, they had him ranked like 236 as 236 pick. I'm like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude have like one performance where he went up against one of the best defenses in the SEC in the Georgia, and all of a sudden, like, the man can't go in the first 3 rounds. Like, before that, everybody was talking about, oh man, he might be a first round pick, second round pick. Now all of a sudden they got the man in the 4th or the 5th round. Like, it's amazing what a bad game, you know, can do for you. But I mean, it wasn't even him. Like, when you look, the backup to the backup for the University of Georgia is a 5-star athlete. I think, if I'm not mistaken, TCU has 17. Like, I guess, like, in the combination of 4 and 5 stars, they had 17 on their team. Like, everywhere you look in Georgia, they got 4 and 5 stars. I mean, what can you do? You have to play to win. You do not play not to lose. We have to take some chances One thing I want to know is what are we going to do at quarterback and who is going to work with him? Pete? John, I don't know. I don't know if Pete gonna work with him or not. I'm very skeptical about Pete's ability to be able to get the best out of a rookie quarterback. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, this season really makes me look at Pete Carmichael differently. Just makes me wonder, like, was he a recipient of the guys around him versus bringing anything to the table? So if you bring in a rookie quarterback, I'm skeptical about, I don't know, can they get the job done with him? TJ, I remember the episode when you was like, it's 3rd and 1. What do? Run the ball? No. You throw it deep, or you take a sack. Exactly. That's what happened. Like, no throwing the ball deep. Check it down. Check down Charlie, right? That's what they want you to be. Conservative, too scared. When they see the ball going past 10 yards, this them. Oh no, I can't look. That's them. Scared to take a chance. I definitely can see Derek Carr coming, and he said he loves Dennis Allen. Well, we'll see. I can see that happening. I just don't see Dennis Allen putting his coaching career in the hands of a rookie. And you definitely don't want to put in, like, his career suicide too if you put it in the hands of Andy Dalton. Jaron Hall really got that mentality of a leader. We need that on offense. Yeah, he does. If I'm not mistaken, that's the quarterback out of BYU, right? Yeah, he's a good, talented guy. So, there's a couple guys. There's a quarterback for Houston that might fall into the hands of the New Orleans Saints. Let me see if I can get his name. I was actually looking at some footage of him the other day. I'm trying to see if I can find his name. Well, I thought I had it in my phone, but unfortunately I don't. But yeah, the quarterback out of the University of Houston, he has some. He has a above average arm. He's athletic, and I think that he might fit that mold. He kind of Andy Dalton-ish, but he has more athletic ability. I like them both, but I might give it to baller blocking a slight edge. Let's see, why not hire Drew Brees as a quarterback's coach? Because I don't know if Drew Brees going to be able to do that. Like, we don't know. Like, just because he was a great quarterback and when he played don't mean he was going to be a great quarterback coach. Clayton Tune is Houston quarterback. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. I couldn't think of his name. But yeah, I was looking at some footage of him because I went back and watched the game with him in Tulane. He made some plays, did some things. So, I think he might fall to the Saints. He should be like a 3rd round pick or something like that. I know, when you hear about quarterbacks, oh, he's a 3rd round pick. Supposed to be no world changes, but you can find diamonds in the rough. Drew can stay at Purdue. We're good. Drew already said he's not interested in coach and that Purdue was a one-time thing. And just because guys are good quarterback don't mean they good coaches. Exactly. Son of God, thank you very much for the 199. Says, why not hire Drew Brees as a quarterback's coach? Drew don't have any intentions on being a coach. Let's see. I will coach the quarterbacks. I got you. If you can bring something to the table, Josh, shoot, better than what they got. Bout It is better song, but movie Baller Blocking is better. What are we talking about? What are we comparing Baller Blocking to? Now, what movie are we comparing it to? Baller Blocking was a terrible movie, by the way. Awful. It was bad. Like, that was bad. It was a one-camera movie. I don't know what they was thinking with that. That was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, to be honest. If we lose this year, we need to get rid of Mickey Loomis and his crew. Well, it seemed like to me he want to go down with the ship, but we know that ain't going to happen because they got so much built-up capital, man. I don't see Gail Benson firing any one of these guys, because they so forever grateful to that 2009 Super Bowl that they've been living on for the last, 13, 14 years. So they're not going anywhere. Tulane got a solid quarterback. Yeah, they do. These Hall of Famers don't want the narrative of not being able to coach, which they should. If you ain't a coach, you ain't a coach. I'm I'm about it and baller blocking. Oh, okay. I don't think Tulane quarterback coming out this year. He's not. Tulane had a running game, yeah, and then they running back. He should be. Well, I know he should get drafted. I don't know if he's going to be top 3 round pick or something like that. But I mean, he'll end up getting an opportunity. But thank y'all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. I ask that you hit the like button on your way out. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all for being very patient, especially yesterday. Like I said, didn't have a show yesterday, but glad to be able to have one today. Shouts out to everybody that chimed in. Special shout out to everybody that's watching this for the first time. Hopefully you hit the subscription button. And if you have not and you watch the show consistently, I ask that you do hit the subscription button. We're on our way to 10,000 subscribers and definitely could use your help. Shouts out to everybody that donated to the show. Really do appreciate that as well. We'll be back, man. We'll be back doing some other podcasts throughout the weekend, of course, getting you all prepared for the divisional round. That's going to be the Gumbo Pod Sports Podcast. So that's going to be this weekend. Also, the Therapy College Podcast is available as well. Previous episodes available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Check out the State of the Saints podcast on Facebook.com. Search the State of the Saints Podcast Network. And you can follow me on Twitter at TJAY Jones 8. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?